Perfect. Before we start, I have two disclaimers. First of all, I've mentioned to Attila yesterday that I'm not quite sure if I can make it in 10 minutes. And he said, oh, do not bother, take as much time as you need. So we're making this into another keynote. No? No enthusiasm? Okay. Tough crowd. Okay. And the second one, we're here because of a question that I've got a couple months before. A friend of mine asked me, Gregorz, if you would have to encapsulate your entire experience of being a husband, being a father, being a leader, being a coach, being a magician. I also do magic for a living. I did, at least a couple of years ago. And being a coach and all of that, if you would encapsulate this into three most important advices, what would it be? And this was the Kickstarter for the presentation that you will see behind me. And also, this is probably the most serious presentation from all the presentation that I do. So if you're here for the comedy, it might not be the proper place to look, but I'm really happy that you're not running away already. So let's start. Permanent marker and other lies that hold you back. This is the other thing that we are here for. The picture behind me, picture of an elephant. I was living in I was growing up when the cartoons wasn't so politically correct as they are now. And the things like this were quite common in the cartoons that I saw. And when I was a little kid, I always wanted to know why. So when I saw an elephant hold it down to the ground by this small wooden pin, I asked my parents, why is it like that? Why we need to strangle the elephant like this? And they say, well, that's the thing that you're supposed to do. And I knew that they don't have a really good reason for that. So I started to look for the answer. People were saying, oh, the elephant is trained. That's why you need to pin him down, because otherwise he will pull the pin and just run away. And my question was, okay, so if he's trained, why you need to strangle him anyway? And finally, I find an answer. The grown-up elephant, an animal with amazing strength that can easily pull up the pin out of the ground and run away, is not doing this because when he was a little, he learned that he couldn't do this. When he was a little an elephant, he knew and tried to pull this pin out of the ground, but he failed. And I could see with my little kid's imagination a small elephant trying to pull and push as hard as he can, seeing the tears in his eyes, and finally giving up, growing up with the mindset that this wooden pin cannot be pulled out of the ground. And if you think about this, how this translates to our lives, well, we all heard things about ourselves. You should be automation tester. You can do stuff like this. My art teacher in the elementary school told me, you can draw. I will give you B- and you cannot get more because you can't draw. I was like, okay, that's probably it. It took me 20 years to actually bust this myth and learn how to draw. I have some pictures of the drawing I can show you later on after the talk. But the point is, there are things that we do believe, and we never try to validate them, which actually holds us back, and bring us to the second thing that holds us back, the permanent marker, which is the biggest lie ever. I've checked 17 brands of available permanent markers in Poland, and every single one of them fades with time. And think about this. There's a lot of stuff that we hear about ourselves, including you can't draw, you have to be automation tester, and all other stuff. And first of all, yes, they are true. But second of all, they are the biggest bullshit that I have ever heard. Pardon my French. Why? Because the thing that you know about yourself is valid only today. Tomorrow is a different day. You can learn something new. You can develop yourself. You can find out new stuff. The circumstances can change. So nothing in this world is actually permanent. Even the marker, even if they say so. So again, If you think about this, that's a lie. I know a lot of stuff, and I've heard a lot of stuff about myself, even from my beloved ones and the people that are close to me, that I shouldn't do stuff, I couldn't do stuff, and I believe this. But the time has changed. So I highly encourage you to challenge those things that you hear about yourself. Which brings us to the last lesson. Yes, this is me. And yes, I used AI. Why shouldn't I? To generate this photo. We're all clowns. I highly believe that we all are. Have you ever seen a clown? Yeah. I'm really glad that nobody shouted, "I'm seeing one right now." But you're nodding. So I assume that you know how the clowns look like, right? And I assume that you saw a clown performance in a circus at least once. Or you have like a general idea how the clown's performance look like. And I do believe that clowns are ultimate comparison of our own lives. Why? Because if you think about the clown, you see him for how long? 3 minutes? 4 minutes? On a stage, right? And what do you think? Well, they're like funny guys, right? They do funny stuff. They make people laugh. They bring joy. They bring happiness. And that's it. That's probably the best kind of a life that you can get if you're like into people, right? But what you don't see is everything that happens on the backstage. You don't see their struggles. You don't see their fears. You don't see their preparations. You don't see the work that they did to actually put this small 3-minute program together. So people will say a lot of stuff about you, but they don't see the struggle that you have. They don't understand the things that you come through. They don't know where you're coming from. They don't understand the story of your life. And that altogether, I believe, brings us to the thing that was really eye-opening to me. You shouldn't compare yourself to the others. You should compare yourself to who you are, who you were yesterday. That's the only thing that's really worth. Because then you will see the progress, and the guy or the girl you were yesterday is actually you. So the same struggles, the same stuff that goes backstage, right? And if you think about this, there's way many analogies between clowns and our lives. And I highly encourage all of you to get deeper into this concept. Because again, we're into really a lot of struggles. We're into really a lot of pressure and a lot of rushes in our life, right? But if you would like to have a struggle or a rush or a chase that really matter in your life, think about running away from who you are today towards who you can be tomorrow. That's the only valuable, or actually the chase that makes sense for pretty everyone. And I know that you may say, oh, that's valid for someone, but not for me. But I will encourage you to give it a try. To challenge the myths, challenge the things that you've heard about yourself. And I still see that I have some time, so I will tell you this. I always look into bringing as much as I can to any place where I go. And I've challenged, or I actually pick up a life goal for myself. So when I will be lying on a deathbed, and I will have a consciousness that my life is slowly coming to an end, and I will pass away with a thought in my mind that at least the one person has a better life because they had a chance to meet me, it will be a perfect life for me. So if you would like to ask some questions, I'll be here. If you would like to have like a mini coaching session free of charge, I will be here. If you would like to take a look, somebody to take a look on the problems and struggles you have from a different perspective, I'll be here. If you want to take a photo with a clown, I'll be here. Right? So let's stay in touch, let's connect, let's have some coffee together, and let's relieve our fantastic MCs and all the tech crew to finally have a dinner, the lunch, right? Thank you very much.